Yes, you're so right. Girl, I was so glad when I stepped out and there was like, there's no rain this week.
So thrilled to be in a mini dress and not freaking out over the weather.
Over the weather. It's so nice.
But I want to start off first by, this is a series that, the formula isn't necessarily new. There are a lot of shows that deal with, being 20-somethings in a big city, going through personal relationships, romantic relationships, work, all of that. How do you think this show kind of expands and is out of the box from what people would assume a show like this around a friend group this age in a big city would be about?
I think the themes, like you said, never get old, right? And there's so many, there's been shows of this format, Girls, New Girl, what's it always?
Adults.
Adults, Friends, Overcompensating. But when you think about the shows, the iconic shows from the 90s, we think about, well, where is our array of shows like that, right? And when we think of young people hustling in the industry or just young people in general, the shows that come to mind, at least for me, are sort of that are in the zeitgeist are like Euphoria or Industry, which are tonally really, really different.
Yeah.
And there's been a lack, I think, the last 5-6 years of something you can just put on the TV
Comfort.
and feel comfortable and feel like this is my group of friends and I want to be there and I want to be happy. And I see myself in them. And I think now we're seeing a resurgence of that back. And with this show, I think we really, while all of those hold true, we wanted to cover being surrounded by your friends in a big city. We also wanted there to be a big focus on ambition.
Yeah.
Because it feels like a very underrepresented quality. And it's a very prevalent quality in young 20s.
Especially in your 20s. Like, if
Yeah.
you're living in a city like New York, you have to pay your bills. You don't come here unless you're, like, hungry and hustling.
New Yorkers, born and raised, are hungry, period. And anybody who moves here and wants to make it big in the world is also hungry. It's
Yeah.
filled with people who are ambitious and passionate. And I think that sort of quality we felt like was missing.
We also shoot in New York City.
Yes.
I just love to see I could see New York City within the show. And
Yes.
I love that.
Katz's Deli is Katz's Deli. It's not a
Central Park is
soundstage in
Central
Atlanta. Like, Central Park is Central Park. It's not Toronto for New York.
Yeah.
Like,
we did walk over the bridge in our
did.
gym
We
gear.
did. It was great.
I was loving seeing I could see New York City within the show, and I love that.
Katz's Deli is Katz's Deli. It's not a
Central Park is
soundstage in
Central
Atlanta.
Park.
Like, Central Park is Central Park. It's not Toronto for New York.
Yeah.
Like,
we did walk over the bridge
we
in our
did.
gym
We
gear.
did. It was great.
And I was actually telling the guys, I was like, as someone who moved to New York in my 20-somethings, I feel like a lot of for lack of a better term, a lot of the mistakes and things that happen when moving to New York are kind of self-inflicted, because I feel like you sign some sort of like social contract with yourself when you come to New York knowing like, hey, I have to take the train an hour to get a place. I have to like step outside of my apartment and all of a sudden just money just evaporates the moment you step out your apartment.
First of all, $35 is the new $20. I can't step foot outside in New York without dropping $200.
It's crazy.
Why is my coffee $9?
I ordered a matcha yesterday. It was $11.50.
This is what I
horrified.
This is what I get for living in Midtown, to be honest. Yeah.
I used to live in Hell's Kitchen. I was like, oh, I had to move to Harlem because I'm like, it's too much.
I live in Harlem too.
Oh my gosh, I love Harlem.
We'll bond about what streets we're on when the camera's off.
I always tell people that if I had known I had to go through the experience I lived in Chelsea and Hell's Kitchen to be able to like know things now. So now I know like what to do and what not to do. Yeah. But I love it. I love it.
You're a seasoned New York.
Season. And a question I have for you is the fact that I knew that when your character had the first interaction with Jay Ellis, I was like, he's gonna come back in this story somehow. Like this is not just be a glorified cameo. Yeah. And one thing I love about his involvement here, he's worked with Mindy Kaling before, is that
in the Mindyverse.
yeah, and also he was on Insecure, another show that while they were like late 20-somethings, early 30-somethings, but that's another show around the friend group dealing with romance, personal relationships, work. So it's kind of like it's almost like a wink, nudge for like a show like Insecure, that's kind of within the vein of the shows that we were speaking of. But what was it like for you just working with him on this project?
I loved working with Jay. I found all of the stuff that we shot in and around Fisher Stassen was just a delight. And I feel like we all locked into step in this like very easeful way. I'd say that was a theme across the whole show, but
Absolutely.
but we were shooting on the 54th floor of a building in Hudson Yards, and like we'd go out for lunch together, and we felt like we were cosplaying as these like corporate baddies, and playing corporate baddie with Jay Ellis is just like a blast. He's phenomenal in the show. I'm really excited for people to go on the journey of how they feel about his character in the show. We only really scratched the surface in the first 3 episodes, but there is fun to come.
You're in for a really, really fun treat.
Yeah.
Jay.
I can't wait. I've only seen the first 3. I need to binge. I'm gonna binge the rest this weekend. So
Oh, I'm so excited for you to do it.
But I have to say, episode 3 is one of my favorite episodes. It
Yeah.
might be my favorite episode of the season. Like, I think that
Episode 3 is Philadelphia Thirst Monster, right?
Yes.
That's my favorite episode.
we
in the
take
entire
a
season.
little time to steep and like settle into the relationships. I find like it's a lot of characters to set up in a lot of different workplaces, but by the time you get to the 3rd episode here, it's just so funny. Like, it's a really satisfying episode. I think like for anyone dipping their toe into the show, I'm like, just stick around, and by 3, I think we'll have got you. Like, I'll make a bet that we've got you by the end of 3.
I feel like a lot of times people talk about like shows or what they want to get made. It's like very generic. It's like, oh, it's this group of people living in this place. What I love about this show is it's about a real thing. It was originally called Murray Hill, which is like very specific vibe of neighborhood and type of person. And this show nails it. Like, Mindy is just a genius, and she knows that world so well. And I'm excited because I have a ton of friends who actually lived in that neighborhood and went through kind of this life, and I think they'll really love it. And to me, that's what makes a great show, where it's like, even if you never lived there and you're not part of that at all, I think if a show's about something real, it connects with everybody.
one thing that I thought about when watching this is, as someone who moved to New York in my 20s, is that so many things that come with living in New York are self-inflicted. Like, it just comes with the territory of, like, okay, well, it's going to be an idea of, I have to take the train. Okay, well, I live in New York City. Like, it's things like that, they just come with the territory. So I guess for Nicholas and Will, for you, how did you navigate that aspect of, okay, I have these characters in a new scenario, and how did they adapt to this, life they're in right now?
I moved to LA at 19, so like it's a new city, and I think it's important to find community. I think that's something the show touches on really well, especially with the guys. Like, the guys have a very specific relationship that I think isn't touched on in a lot of other shows. Like, sometimes in media, they just like to see dudes bro out, but we all kind of wear our hearts on our sleeve, and we really create a safe space for each other. So I think community when moving to a new city is probably the most important thing.
Yeah, I think the characters like lean on each other for everything, which is like what I do in real life with my friends. So yeah.
Yeah.
And for you, like, was it any sort of meta of your performance? You're playing an aspiring actor. As an actor,
Yeah.
did you think about that at all? With Company to Kill?
I didn't really have to think about it too much because I am an actor and I'm still an aspiring actor, so I know what it's like to wait in long lines for an audition and not get seen, or put in self-tapes and get countless no's, or looking for an agent, and the kind of aimless process that feels like. So I just kind of tapped back into where I was in certain moments in my career, and I was able to just kind of just feel that, really.
And I did a little bit of research, and I believe that this will be the first major TV character named Kel since Kel Mitchell and King of the Kill.
Wait, wow.
I did extensive research to figure this out, and I looked, and I don't think there has been.
Wow.
So I think like when people Google Kel, it's either going to be Kel Mitchell or your character.
Wow, that's big shoes to fill for sure.
Yeah. And Will, for you, I think that watching episode 3, I think that I've never thought that I'd watch an episode of TV where someone would trigger allergic reactions in order to impress someone, in order to I guess make themselves look better.
Yeah.
Those scenes were so crazy. I mean, how was it like filming those?
It was so fun. Yeah, I mean, like getting all the makeup thrown on me and like the sweat and everything. I think my favorite part was like I would forget how I look, and I would have to like use the restroom, and like every 3 hours I'd get like a reminder of what these guys are singing. I'd be like, oh my god, yeah, it was so fun though. And that was one of my favorite scenes to shoot because I feel like that was one of the first scenes we shot where we were all together for a majority of the episode.
Yeah.
And so on and off, like when we were filming and when we were just behind the scenes, it was so fun.
So fun.
Yeah.
And Jack, it was kind of satisfying to see how Josh kind of eventually comes into his own at the end of these 3 episodes. You know, kind of finds his way. You know, he doesn't have, you know, after having the group chat name, and then to go from that to be actually added to the group chat was kind of satisfying. So, how would you describe that journey for him through those 3 episodes and what's in store for him in the rest of the season?
I think you nailed it. I think that's really what his arc is all about. Is like, you know, he's a little bit of a baby. He's a little bit of a little boy. And I think maybe he thinks he's more of an adult than he is at the start. And this season, I think, is all about him learning that and then, like, learning how he has to actually grow. So I think that was really fun to play and hopefully fun to watch.
Well, amazing. Well, thank you 3 so much for chatting with me.
Thank
I've
you.
only seen the
Thank you.
first 3, so I'm excited to binge the rest of the season. But thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Thanks.